Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. We're back in the garage and today we're going to be working on the Excursion. One of the things I always wanted to do on this is to replace the center console with a jumper seat. Since we go to a lot of skiing with family and friends and beach in the summertime, occasionally we go over the 8-passenger limit and the ninth one, and it just doesn't work out too well. So I've been in the market for a jumper seat in the middle, and it's been a long time looking, and we finally found one this week on Facebook Marketplace of all places. It's 2016 F250 tan leather jumper seat, and the guy claimed it had 28,000 miles on it. When he removed it, he wanted to put a center console and I wanted a jumper seat, so it worked out good. So today's project is going to be taking out the center console and installing this. It's not a straight swap. I think the front mounts are slightly different. The rears will bolt to the existing holes, but the fronts it won't. And we're probably going to have to take the armrest out on both sides, but that's okay because we're gaining a nice middle seat. So without too much talking, I'm going to start taking out the center console and then probably have to take the seats out and figure out how I'm going to proceed. So let's go. Start the project. I'm going to take the center console out. We'll start with these 4 8mm bolts. So once the console is loosened up, you have to unplug those 2 plugs. Mine has that rear seat entertainment buttons in the back, so a lot of these wires go to that. And then there's the cigarette lighter outlet. So I'm gonna disconnect these and get the console out of the way. So here's the console out of the car. I'm just gonna put this away. The only thing I'm gonna reuse out of it is the entertainment block and the wiring harness that comes with it. And I'll leave the cigarette lighter in because I'm gonna use a new setup, a cigarette lighter USB port. But for now, just gonna get the block out and the wiring harness. So the rear seat entertainment block came out these 2 clips in the end. You push them together like this at the same time and it pops out. The wiring harness has to come out from the bottom, so you have to unclip both the cigarette lighter and the plug here, so the harness can come out from the bottom because the plugs on the other end are too wide to sneak in from here. So just a little added bonus feature. Before we go any further, first things first, I gotta take the seats out so I can mark the new jump seat to make sure the holes in the back line up. And then we have to take those armrests out. So I'm gonna test fit everything to see if it works. Then we can start messing around with plugs and everything else. So here goes the seats. The fronts are some weird Torx Plus bit, but the T55 is the closest. I guess it's a Torx Plus T55, but the T55 I have is, let's see, goes in there. It's slightly loose, but it should work. Those bolts are not rusted, so they should come out pretty easy. And the backs are 18mm nuts. So let's take the passenger seat out first and then go from there. The passenger seat bolts are undone. When I wired this in, I made the plug so I can disconnect it and remove the seat. So I'll disconnect the plug, get the seat out, and continue on from there. Both seats are out. Let's bring the jump seat and see if it's gonna fit the back holes. Supposedly it'll go right into these inner back holes, and then the fronts have to be new holes because they won't fit in these. So once I mount that, I'll mark the location for the front holes, drill them, and then my friend has a nutsert tool. He's gonna come by later, and then we're gonna install like 1/2x13 nutserts and put grade 8 1/13 bolts on so we can secure the jump seat. So let's bring the jump seat and see what happens. So I put the jumper seat in for test fitting, and either the 11/16 jump seats have a different bolt pattern than everybody says, or this is a later model one, 2017 and up, because nothing lines up in the back. So a couple of days after doing the nutserts on the floor of the Excursion for the seat, right before I put the seat back in, I decided to add a couple of outlets for the rear seats so they can have phone charging. So initially I was gonna put it in the back of the seat, but there's a couple of plastic barriers there, and I didn't want to drill through 2 of them and then fish the wiring harness inside. So what I decided to do is add the 2 outlets next to the factory cigarette lighter in the base of the seat. So I made this small harness, and I spliced it into the Excursion wiring harness for the center console. And so I'll have 3 outlets inside the seat, and then the wires, the charging wires, can go out of underneath the base. There's a spot there for the wires to get out, so I'll make them go out that way. And then the rear seat entertainment, I made a little template here that I'm gonna cut so I can mount this like this from inside, and the plug will be here. It'll plug right in there. So I'm gonna get the drill, couple of drills, and then trace it with the little handsaw, and because it's plastic, and see how that works. And once that's in, then I can mount the seat in the car. See how it goes. So here it is, the 2 USB ports and the rear entertainment control box inside the seat. Now I'm gonna flip over, plug the harnesses in, and mount the seat in the car. I did also grind that lip that sticks out. Let me just throw this on. And then same on the other side, just gave it a quick coat of paint. And now I'm gonna flip over, plug the harness in, and then put it in the car. See how it goes. The wiring harness plugged in underneath the seat, and we're ready to go into the car. So here's the seat in the car. 2 bolts here, 1/2x13s. The front holes were fine. The rear holes, the mounts, I had to enlarge it a little bit because it looks like the factory used metric M12 bolts, and we only had the tabs for 1/2 inch. So anyways, I just enlarged the holes slightly. Same with that seat belt retention cable, whatever it's called. This thing, I had to enlarge the hole for 1/2-13 to fit. So right now I'm just gonna loosely snug the bolts in place, and you can see that's the control, and those are the stock lighter that came with the seat, and the 2 USBs that I added, and they're all wired and plugged in. So looks like it's working out pretty good. I'm gonna snug the bolts, then bring the seats in and see if I mount them here. if this is still gonna be a problem. I ground down the metal a little bit to make it as flat as possible. So see how it goes. Just gonna continue on. There it is after securing all the seats in. So the battery is dead, so I can't move the seat, the driver's seat, backward, but that's all right. But this is the seat. I know it doesn't match the rest of the interior, but at least it's tan in color and it's functional. The last thing I got to do is the armrest tabs, both sides have to be cut off, otherwise you won't be able to open and close the seat. So I'll do that next, but for now I have a functioning middle seat, which will also become a center console. So this would be another project completed. One last thing to note is, let me go around and underneath the car. So under the car, this is where you can see the back two nut certs, and there are two in the front, they're buried. But you can see this is where the seat wanted to be in mine. So it didn't exactly line up with the provisions factory made. These are tabs that they put in, but these are not tapped for like the rest of the seats are, for the M12 bolts. So that's where we ended up putting the nut certs. It's the same almost on the other side too. It's within an inch of the existing. So I don't know how much I trust these nut certs. I might just put some heavy washers here and put a nut on it, so there'll be more of a area here supporting the seat rather than this nut cert, even though it's in there solid, but you never know. So tomorrow or the next day I'll go to the local hardware store and get some thick washers. So I did go to the local hardware store today and picked up some thick washers, 5/8 hole inside washers, 3 of them, and then to clear the nut cert and put it on the bottom side of the bolts on the rear side of the seat. So that's the passenger side, and I'm gonna now do the driver's side. In order on the driver's side to clear that little factory hole location, I cut the washers off a little bit just to clear around that bump for the factory bump. So each side is taking 3 washers to clear the nut cert, and then knotting it to hold them in place. It's not the greatest setup, but I think it's better than just leaving the nut cert to keep the seat from coming off in the unfortunate event of an accident. I think this will give it a little better surface area. And those washers are bigger than the factory is using for the seats. You can see here. Let me just put the washer up against it. The washer is slightly bigger, and I'm using 3 of them to clear the nut cert. So the area is bigger on mine than the factory setup, so I think it should work. So I'm gonna put those on, and the bottom will be done. Then I gotta cut the armrest mounts on the driver and passenger seat, so I will clear the jump seat, and it'll be done. So let me put these on and see what happens. So here's the driver's side, passenger side on the back of the seat. The fronts, there is no access. The nut certs will do a fine job because that's not the direction the seat's gonna fly in the unfortunate event of an accident. This side is, and I think this should give it a pretty good surface area to protect the seat from coming off. So the bottom's done. and move into the inside. So as I'm charging the battery in the Excursion, this is one of the outlets. The other one is a cigarette lighter. So is the stock one. So they don't have any lights in them, but looks like they're working. So this completes the jump seat installation project. Thanks guys for watching again. I really appreciate it. So now we'll be moving on to other projects, and I'll be posting soon. Thank you very much, and I'll see you later. Bye.